The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.
Welcome back to another No Ifs, Ands, or Buts. I will say that I must practice saying that every morning before we actually do the show because it's hard to say No Ifs, Ands, or Buts. We call it that because it is Matt Butts, B-U-T-T-S, mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net, 948-4958, 948-4958. He's a divorce and does some family law, just the best of the best. We met several years ago and we decided to do a show, and I'm so glad we did. It's one of our fastest growing shows here on Tony Curry Radio and on the entire podcast world, which is good. We are somewhere in the 8%. So as long as your show's in the top 10%, brother, I'm super happy. How are you doing, my friend? Everything good?
Doing well, man. Just a whole lot of work.
Good.
A lot of very, very litigious cases coming through. So we've been grinding pretty hard.
And all of a sudden, you're as crystal clear as I've seen you all morning. So God is good. You're looking fantastic. So
That's
we're on,
Thank
brother.
you.
You mentioned that before the show, that summertime is also a really, really busy time for you guys. Why is that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think spring hits and people are feeling maybe, I don't know, a change in life, or perhaps for a modification. Um, they want to move and put the children in a different school zone. So they want to do that at the end of the current school season, thinking that a court case is not going to last more than 3 months. And
Yeah.
most times it's going to. So um, these are things that can be done many times. I mean, it just really depends on which situation you're in, but we just see a big ramp up there. And then,
When you're
go ahead.
talking about something like a modification, and for people that don't know, that's two people coming in, and obviously one person wants to change the way things are. They want to modify the original agreement that came down from the judge. Is there a burden of proof that must be uh, provided by the person who wants to change that? Does there need to be something major that changed in order to get that modification normally in a case like that?
Right. So issues such as visitation and support and custody are always modifiable as long as the children are still minors. If you want to modify child support or perhaps visitation, you will need a material change in circumstances, meaning, hey, things were like this when this last order came out. There has been a material change in circumstance in that ABC.
Gotcha.
If you wanted to change custody, the standard gets a little tougher. It's no longer best interest. It is the McClendon standard, which is a three-pronged standard. It includes a material change in circumstances and a couple of the things you got to do in order to show that a change in custody would be beneficial to the child.
We were talking earlier about Army brats, guys that are girls that have to move around the country because their service to this country 13, 14, 15 times in a lifetime. And obviously, depending on the child's age, that child must go along with that family, not in a divorce situation, but certainly with the family. Um, can you talk just a little bit about how that affects children? Maybe not so much from an Army brat situation, because then you're talking about an absorbent amount of time to leave. But if you got a kid that's 3, 4, just starting school, 12, 13, high school's got friends, there's developmental times, adolescence, when there's good times, bad times for picking kids up. And how does a judge look at that when they're talking about having to move a kid? If a kid, say, for example, has been going to the same school for the first 12 years of his life, and all of a sudden someone's wanting to move him, how does that play out?
It really depends. I mean, if the child has grown roots at that school and has a whole lot of friends and good relationships there, it's really, really hard to leave, especially if that's a very good school that really tends to their needs, things like that. Now, obviously, like you said, sometimes that is an absolute necessity for the child to change schools. But it hits kids different. I mean, some kids really do well with it, especially if they don't like the school that they're at,
Hmm.
and it's like a fresh start. Others don't transition as well because they don't really like being the new kid. They like being the place where they've always kind of been. So I mean, it just really depends on the kid. But again, like you said, sometimes it is necessary.
And certainly something that is near and dear to my heart. By the way, he is Matt Butts. He's the best. mbutts.law.net. mbutts, B-T-T-S law.net, 948-4958, divorce and family law, 948-4958. He is busy, but he's never too busy for you. I've seen cases where you've hired a gal, a guardian ad litem, which is just basically a lawyer for the children. Is there a
Yes.
particular age when that is a good idea? Can you talk about how that plays into it and how crucial it is to have that in some cases?
I mean, any age between infant to 19 could have a guardian ad litem. And for infants, if in the state of Alabama, if you are married and your wife becomes pregnant, you are the presumed legal father.
Okay.
That's the first presumption on the list. That presumption can be overcome. However, if you're in the middle of a divorce case and you're saying that's not my child, this child has another father, then you would need a guardian ad litem appointed to make sure that when they get divorced and this man is declared to not be the father of this child, that this child is cared for,
Yeah.
that the mother does know who the father is, and if they're not in a relationship, how to obtain support and things of that nature, just to make sure that child is okay, because it's a very, very big deal to remove a parent from a child.
Gotcha. For the first time, I think in history, did I see this maybe 2 years ago that we have more single people on Earth than we have married people? That was the first time.
I believe it.
Yeah, for the first time
I
ever.
believe it.
And there's a lot of different reasons for that. I went back and was looking at usafacts.com, which had a really interesting piece last month on divorce and marriage in the United States of America. Um, 47% of households right now are married. 50 years ago, that was 66%. It has dropped 20% in the last 50 years. And also now the average marriage age for a man getting married for the first time. Do you want to take a stab at how old the average man in this country is when he gets married for the first time?
First time, 31.
Wow, very good. 30.8. That's why you're the best. 30.8. And for women, it's surprisingly almost as old at 28.4. I didn't get married till I was 37, and people started murmuring I was gay. I mean, I was like, what, is Tony Curry gay? And I was like, dude, I was out doing Miss Hawaiian Tropic beauty pageants and wet t-shirt contests. And I'm like, no, I'm not gay. I just, I needed to get it out of my system. And even at 37, I probably could have waited a little bit longer now in hindsight. But no, I'm not gay. It's one thing I have not done.
You waited years to prove them wrong.
Yeah,
No, I
exactly.
got married at 26, man. Same
Okay.
thing.
So talk about how cohabitation now is the big thing. Everybody wants to move in. I did it. I find it amazing, and I have a psychiatrist that will fight me tooth and bare on this. And the stats do not lie that if you cohabitate with somebody, you have a better chance at making a divorce for your family than if you don't cohabitate before you get married. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's just the truth. That's how it lies. But based on your expertise and the years of experience you've had in this, it appears that since we're waiting longer to get married, we're having a record low number of divorces. And while I know that's not great for your business, there's still more than you can handle on your plate. So that's not going to be a problem for you. You'll always have divorces on your plate. But it does appear that the numbers are trending down a little bit for divorces, which is always a good thing. Can you talk a little bit about that? Why are we waiting so long? Are we getting into the me thing? Do we not care about other people? Are we not falling in love faster? What's going on?
I've got a personal theory here. I
I
mean,
love it. Oh, nice.
and that's really all it is. My understanding is that the term teenager wasn't coined until around the 1920s. And it was, I think a lot of that was to overcome some really harsh conditions that children were going through. There were children working in factories, things like
Mhm.
that. Robert Rakes invented Sunday school so that these children could be educated and make more of themselves. So I think it was around the 20s, the term teenager came into being, which was a good thing. It was like, let them be kids. I like that. However, As it progressed, it became an age in life where you have a lot of the privileges of being an adult with very few of the responsibilities.
Okay.
So, fast forward, we are 100 years removed from when that term was coined, and that gap of teenager or adolescent or whatever we want to call it, that very few responsibilities while also having a whole lot of privileges, that kind of increased in age, not just kind of beyond the teenager. But in doing that, people have just kind of learned to live independent.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that they're not going to do something just because tradition tells them to do it. They are going to do something that just kind of makes sense to them. And a lot of times, if not getting married just does not make sense at their point in life, it's not necessarily a bad thing to not get married. You know, you want to finish school, you want to do this, you've got goals and things that you want to do, you want to see the world, that type of thing. I think people are, I mean, really kind of figuring themselves out before they get married now. So we've kind of looped back around.
I think that's great. I mean, I think perhaps we went into this thing where you meet somebody in the white picket fence and the whole 9 yards. You're 22, 23, whether you met that person in school or not, and you get married and you have children, and that's just the way you did it. And generationally speaking, that obviously changed over the
Mhm.
course of years. Now the people are like, well, I don't want to wait till I'm 30 because I want grandchildren. You still got plenty of time, if you get married at the age of 30. I mean, I'm 60 years old. I don't have any grandchildren yet. I'm assuming I will possibly have one before it's all said and done. But whatever God's will is fine with me. But I wouldn't have changed anything. I can tell you right now that if I got married when I was 30 or younger, then I probably would have gone through a divorce a lot earlier. Not to say that's something I was setting myself up for, but I just I wasn't ready. Just
Well,
wasn't ready for that.
I'll say this. They told my generation, you need a college degree or you'll never make anything of yourself. And
Mhm.
then we fast forward and the market is flooded with bachelor's degrees. So you need a master's degree if you're ever going to make
Yep.
anything of yourself. And I don't know how deep that hole really, really is. But the further people have taken education, the longer they have prolonged marriage as well.
My son is
Um,
going through that right now. He's a junior, and I never thought in a million years he'd want to continue his wealth of knowledge. And he's like, I want to be. I want. It's like if we can figure out the money situation, you want to go to grad school, not because of that. But he's like,
yeah,
I've got to do something to separate myself. And he's already doing that because he's a
you
great
have
kid. He
to.
gets great grades. He wants to. I want to be able to walk in the door, and I want to know that I'm going to get the job I want based off what, and I'm like, go for it, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's that's beautiful, and it's another 2 or 3 years of college. If that can set the table for you for the rest of your life, so be it. I can't talk about how important that is. Coming from two cats you're looking at right now, Matt Butts and Tony Curry, who thoroughly just absolutely love what we do for a living. It makes it a joy, and that's why I love doing the show so much with you because we're all doing something that we really really enjoy and doing together, and we'll continue to do that. But that's really important, and I don't think enough people. I've had enough discussions about this on Fox 6 and ABC 33, 40 and stuff that I think we kind of went through a little lull there in the marriage brand of what it really meant to be married. That we talked about prenups in the previous shows. You can
Hmm.
go back and check out all of our podcasts. We've had some great prenup questions, some great questions and shows on it. But that was always, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I mean, you got to go into this thing assuming that you'll do whatever it takes. That's why when we met with the priest said, well, if you find out she's cheating on you, what are you going to do? Are you leaving or are you staying? And of
Yeah.
course the right answer was I'm staying. It doesn't mean that I won't hate her ass, but I will stay. I will try to work through it, and it kind of depends on what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net, 948-4958, 948-4958. We get into stuff, we forget about things. I know you wanted to give a shout out. Let's do that now before I forget because I want to make sure we get it in before the shows because it flies by. What you got?
I do. I want to give a shout out to Musicality in Gardendale. It
Okay.
is a music school, and my son takes guitar there. I'm actually going to be doing a session at the camp this summer
Nice.
on like rap music and hip hop and just just
Now, you know what?
basic
No,
stuff.
you're saying a session on rap and hip hop. Are you saying you're going to teach a session? Or are you going to be playing in a
Yeah,
session or what?
I'm gonna teach a session. I
So,
make music too. I've got the Alabama Jones music out there, and it's just kind of how I de-stress. And
so you
people like
do
it
you
in
do rap
Gardendale.
you do rap music.
I do. I do. Yeah.
I did not know that. You're going to have
I
to
mean,
do some
it's
on the show.
like
No, no,
no, no, no.
I'm going to give
Like
you, I'm going
I
to
do
give you, no,
separate
no, 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 no.
streams.
You can't throw that
I
shit
am
out and
not a
not do it.
rapping lawyer.
No, you are Alabama's rapping
You
lawyer.
can go.
You need to own that hilltop, my
Look, it's
friend.
country
You need to
clean.
own that
I'll tell you that.
hilltop.
I don't talk about body parts. I don't talk about drugs or anything like that. It's country clean. There might be a couple words in there, but
No, I love that.
yes, it's Alabama Jones. It's on Apple Music and all the places, Spotify, all that.
Alabama Jones. Okay, I'm in, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I
No,
want to
I
hear
mean,
it.
look, it's how I de-stress. I enjoy it, and I've kind of got a little following around here in North Jefferson County, which is cool because I've never done a show. I just kind
Yeah.
of make music in my office, and I'm doing that camp this summer, so I'm excited about it.
All right. Speaking of the devil, I've got my kid call you in 10 minutes. That's awesome. I did not realize that. We all need to find our way of decompressing.
That's it,
And I
man.
would have never thought in a million years. My
Mhm.
youngest son is into this kid named Alec Benjamin right now.
Okay.
Did not have a clue who this kid is. He is described as a indigo folky rap kind of. He's 32-year-old
Yeah.
white kid, and man, I mean, I when I first heard, I was like, oh no, 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 no. And now I love this kid's music.
There.
We actually
Yes.
we actually drove up to the Fusion X, it's a car wash, on Friday to celebrate his graduating. He's graduating tonight at the Pete Hanna Center. I can't be more proud of him. I cannot believe I got a special needs boy. It's going to be graduating tonight. So cool. So we were in the car for 6 hours and we listened to every
Congratulations.
stinking,
That's
thank
awesome.
you. We listened to every stinking Alec Benjamin song there is. And if you listen to him, he raps. He raps in the music,
Yeah.
but it's much softer. It's not Beastie Boys by any stretch, but it's really really good. But I've come to enjoy that type of rap because if the words rhyme, man, it's
You might
rap.
not like mine, Tony.
Oh, I'm all over Alabama Jones, man. No, we're gonna have to follow
I don't
that.
know.
We're gonna have
It's
to
not
cross
for
it over.
everybody, but the people who love it love it.
We're gonna have to get on that. We got Steve in Cincinnati, Ohio. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net.
Oh,
Info
well.
at TonyCurryRadio.net. In my hometown, I know I have a bunch of homies up there that love to listen to the show. Steve wants to know if you've had something in your life, and he's not saying what it is, but some type of tangible object that your wife never knew about during a discovery process. If it's anything worth anything, must I divulge what that is? Okay, so let's say that he has a gold nugget that he found when he was 12 and it's worth $75,000 and it's sitting in his underwear drawer and she never knew he had it. It's just something that he never came up with, never thought to bring it up. They've been married for 12 years. Now they're going through a discovery process. Must he divulge that piece of jewelry if it's got some cost to it?
I mean, it depends on how the question is asked, and I can only give advice concerning Alabama law. So I'm really, really not sure about the laws in Ohio. However, if that were taking place in Alabama, I mean, obviously, if they ask you about it, you have to answer it and reveal and disclose these things. However, if it hasn't in Alabama, if it hasn't been used to better the marriage for the benefit of the marriage, then you can claim it as separate and you can go to trial and find out if it's separate or not, and maybe they agree that it's separate.
Yeah.
But hiding things always it's not the best look because we're very good at what we do. And if this thing does go to trial and we show that you have been hiding things, the very next logical question is, what else is he hiding?
Yeah.
How much more money is he hiding? And
Yeah.
it may just be that nugget, but because of that nugget, they assume you got a lot more than you got.
Yeah. Julia Northport wants to know about these ordinations that you can get online. You can get online and be ordained as a minister. I did it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually actually married 99 couples down at Jitterbugs. We had a
Oh,
mass
wow.
marriage. Yeah, a mass marriage and I think you can still hear it on YouTube. But it was the Jitterbugs mass marriage. I married 99 couples. There was some you could hear some guy puking in the background. It was outrageous. It was fantastic. But I was an ordained minister because I got ordained on air
Yeah.
and online. And for the most part, people were getting married because I think some of them thought that it wasn't real. Some people thought, well, okay, we got married and we were to believe we were getting married, so it counts. I had several people call me up and say, "Was that for real or not?" I was one of the people that got married. I'm like, "Yeah, it was for real." And it was because we did have a priest there to kind of follow the lines of susceptibility to make sure that we were in the right for everything. We want to make sure that someone didn't find out that they were not married for the last 25 years. But are those real? And what does it take to be a really ordained minister or person who can commit a marriage in the state? Do you know?
Well, in the state of Alabama, that's no longer required.
Okay.
And I remember I went to seminary or got my undergraduate degree from a seminary, and I want what I would do, or I'm sorry, I got licensed but never ordained. So what I would do is I would fill out the marriage certificate and just write my name. All you really had to be was a licensed minister. Now you go to probate, you submit the affidavit, notarized affidavit, pay your fee, and you're married. So if you wanted Big Bird to marry you on top of the Regent's Tower, you could do it, and it does not matter.
So, but Big Bird would have to go down there to the probate and get that paperwork
No,
signed.
no,
Oh,
no,
oh,
no. Whatever celebration or ceremony you do, it isn't. I'm not saying it'll never be considered, but it's not the legally binding document. In the state of Alabama, if you go down to probate, you fill out that paperwork, you're married legally that day.
okay. And then you can have whoever you want to stand over the ceremony, is what you're saying.
And or you don't have to have a ceremony. Either way.
Wow. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds so easy.
It's
That
very easy now.
that is crazy. I didn't think that kind of blows my mind away a little bit.
Yeah, I mean
That,
it's changed. I mean, like it's been in the last uh few years or so, but yeah,
that's kind of crazy. That's
or
kind of
maybe more than that.
final email question here from Emma in Birmingham. She wants to know, how did COVID change the way we look at divorce and marriage? That's a very
Oh
broad question.
man, it is.
I know we were going through that, and I know a lot of people were stuck together. You couldn't leave. We had a lot of marriages. You know, everything was under a really, really bright light. It made some marriages very, very strong. It destroyed some marriages. But now that we are, I can't believe we're saying this. It's been 6 years since COVID was here in
Is it
2020.
really?
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah.
What kind of fallout have you seen in the last 6 years of the marriage? Has it changed much? What have you seen different?
I mean, I think we're getting back to a better place since COVID, but I mean, COVID kind of just revealed a lot. It's hard to hide things when you're in the same house like every day.
Yeah.
It's just it really is. And again, it made people realize they don't want to see each other anymore. They can't stand each other. They want a divorce. Uh, Also, it made some custody cases a little easier because if both of them are living in the house, but only one of them's doing the work, it's like,
Hmm.
all right,
Yeah.
you had every opportunity and just blew it. Yeah, and there were some reverse as well. COVID showed us basically how involved parents are with their kids because they had to be in order to homeschool well. We homeschool our kids, and my wife does it very, very well. And she's got a group of people that she communicates with, and our kids play with their kids, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you don't homeschool well, it goes completely the opposite, poorly. You do not just set a kid up on a computer and say, go do your school while I play on my phone. That's not the way this works.
Yeah.
You've got to actually be educating your child.
There you go.
So it showed a lot of that.
Matt Butts, you're the best, man. Divorce and family law, mbutslaw.net, mbutts, B-U-T-T-S law.net, 948-4958, 948-4958. You can hear it on, of course, our family of Tony Curry radio stations. We do like 15 or 16 different podcasts, and this one's rising very, very quickly, obviously, because a lot of people have questions. They don't want to pay a divorce
Yeah.
attorney. You don't have to. You get the free
That's right.
questions. So send those questions, info at TonyCurryRadio.net,
Yeah.
info at TonyCurryRadio.net, and we'll get into it next week. If you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to get into those as well. And go pull some Alabama Jones today. Maybe sitting on the back
Yeah.
deck. I'm gonna
Hey,
pull up some
you know what?
Alabama
You're either
Jones.
going to like it or hate it.
Oh, I'm going to go listen to it like right after I'm done with the show. I may have to tag it Alabama Jones on our tag, so we can cross promote. And by the way, you mentioned the family store. What was the music store again?
It's a music school. It's called Musicality. It's run by Kyla and Dustin Duckworth. They're great people. I've known them for a
Yep.
very long time. That's where I send my kids. It's right here in Gardendale, and they got a place in Summerton too.
Nice.
Um, they really care about these kids, and it shows.
I cannot tell you how important that is. My son, who's graduating tonight, is wanting to start learning how to play the handbells, which is something that he can do.
Yeah.
And he's going to start doing that at Montevallo next year. So I'm going to buy him a set of handbells. But he really wants to take them. And I can't tell you, from a guy that played trumpet for 9 years, was in the marching band. Yes, I was a geek. I didn't get laid till I was 22, but you know what? I turned out okay. Because I was the
That
man
was so
rather than play football. I'm not. Yeah, I think he probably got laid before. Alabama Jones was getting the skippies well before Tone the Bone was, which doesn't really make sense to me. But we could talk about that on another show. Oh, I love you, brother. Have yourself a wonderful week, man.
All right, you do the same, my friend.
Thanks, Boo.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.